Today, we're taking a look at every new supersuit in the Arrzee SMP Heropack. If you're new to the channel, these are all of the custom-coded supersuits created for the second season of my Enhanced SMP Superhero series. As always, thanks so much to Sabri for all his hard work on the pack this season. This Heropack has both a free and patron-exclusive version, and active patrons will continue to have exclusive access to the newest suits. Do note that the patron version of my pack now requires JMCT's Heropack and the Melon Farm Heropack to function properly. I'm going to be updating both versions of the pack today, so check the pinned comment to see what was added. I'll be linking everything down below, as well as all the other hero packers we worked with this season. So let's get into it. Today with me I got Killious.
Hello.
We're gonna specifically look at not only all the new suits, but a bunch of the alts that we've made for season 2. Obviously, thank you so much to Sabri, who coded all of these for both season 1 and season 2. Did an excellent job with them, and shout out to a lot of other hero packers this season who helped us out. They'll all be linked in the description below. So let's get right into it with the season 2 characters, starting with Prism Archer.
The weakest hero on Harp and in the hero pack.
I could definitely argue that. The Prism Archer is pretty great. You know, he's got his bow. Like Green Arrow, he has all kinds of different arrows he can use that you can load into the quiver. Yeah, he also has some hops, quite a bit. It makes his combat flow a lot better. If you're not holding the bow, you can pull out the Tonfas, the dual nightsticks, which you can swing by right and left clicking.
You know what's funny?
What's that?
I just thought he was using that, like, just these randomly. I didn't know these were part of the suit.
Yep, these are part of the suit. Yep. And they're actually quite cool.
But he got buffed.
Actually, he got nerfed because early in the season, we found out that for some reason he had a Captain America level strength. Lastly, and one of the most important features, and one that still isn't public at the time of recording this, is the motorcycle. Sabri did an absolutely awesome job on not only the model, but also, you know, kind of incorporating all the sounds and the timing for it. But it basically works like Speed on a Speedster, but of course has a cool vehicle. And thanks to those hops that were added in the normal part of the suit, it actually flows pretty nicely when driving on the road or in game. It has a couple little bugs, especially when watching from an outside perspective, but from a first-person perspective, it looks pretty great. And even a third-person perspective, it looks good too. Really well done by Sabri.
Yeah, this is like the first time I've ever seen something like this.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And next up, we're going to go with Crystalface, Blaze's character. As you might be able to tell, Crystalface is definitely inspired by Ben 10, which is very appropriate for Blaze in his Ben 10 series. If you press your transformation, you actually get the Crystalface suit and also get access to a bunch of abilities like his crystal throwing with right click, which actually go pretty far.
Oh yeah, they hit pretty hard too.
They do. His hoverboard, which you can get by double clicking. I really like the flight on it. It looks pretty cool. I know Sabri said he was actually wanting to update it at some point, kind of like the animation for the riding, but it still looks pretty good, I think, at this point as well. And of course, his shield, Crystal Shield, which works and functions a lot like Captain America's shield with the shield throw, and even has electromagnetic properties to come back to you.
Yeah, this thing does not obey the laws of physics.
Huh.
And that was a reference.
Yep. So yeah, he's clearly inspired by, you know, Diamondhead, and even the name is similar, Crystalface. As we know, we kind of want to do a unique take on some of the Ben 10 aliens, and we actually have some more coming up in the near future as well.
Some you might see today.
Some that you might see today. Another thing I forgot to mention, it also is just the helmet. Next up, we have Captain Kaisa.
The second most powerful hero on Harp.
Ah, yeah, that's one perspective. So Captain Kaisa is obviously based on the Captain Marvel character, a unique take on her. The main thing that you want to be able to do with her is toggle her binary mode, which does have a limited time, as you can see on the bottom, or access to all the extra abilities, such as flight, which is not only one of the fastest in the hero pack, but also has one of the best animations and sounds. Sabri spent a lot of time kind of trying to get the trail right, and it looks pretty great.
It looks really good.
And just being able to look at it from an outside perspective too.
She's faster than post-nerf Arrzee.
And she also has a couple different attacks. The Cosmic Energy Blast, which you can hold your ability button for and blast single hits, which do high knockback single target hits, and full Cosmic Energy Beam.
Yeah, and this hits like a truck.
And looks great too. Just another instance of Sabri absolutely killing it with the coding on this. And it looks amazing. I believe no one at this point, I don't know who's done it now, but before this suit, I don't think anyone had actually attempted to do this yet, at least not in this way with this type of animation. And it's fantastic. And that's Captain Kaisa. And next up, we got Vibeman.
Oh. Keep skipping over my guy.
Look at you, look at you. The Vibeman is Tideman's character in the series. We also recently added an alt for him for the end of season storyline, which Killious is now going to show. That is the Axe variant of his suit.
Dude, this is clean. This is like Gucci brand, you know?
It looks really
Louis
good.
Vuitton.
Yeah, thanks to Flash for making that skin. He absolutely killed it. Flash the Titan. He's made a couple of skins here, which we'll get into as we go. But Vibeman's pretty cool. He's based on Vibe, the CW variant from the Flash, and he's got a couple different awesome vibrational like powers, just like Vibe. For example, his charged beam. Real pretty beam.
Clean sound that goes with it.
Yep, as well as the teleporting, which is essentially the equivalent of opening breaches, right? To teleport to different locations, which he can do very quickly as well, quicker than most people know, which makes him a really, really good suit, despite his low tier.
Yeah, Tideman could have just like spam teleporting, but he used the Glock anyways. I don't know why.
Yeah, he used the...
All he would do.
Yeah, he used the Glock multiple times in the season when he literally has energy blast.
He's a beam boy.
He is a beam boy. And lastly, something we just added for him, which is the shield. Now, there's two different variations of it, even though this one was never actually canonical in the series. The way we came about adding the shield was during the Quantum Realm episode, Tideman actually found Captain America's shield, and he ended up taking it. And once he started working with Axe, Cordax added it to his suit, and that's kind of how it got added. Meaning this, the one I have here, is technically a non-canon shield. But, of course, Sabri did an awesome job just including it for us anyway, to make it match, which I appreciate.
And speaking of not canon things, in that same episode, but it was cut, Prison Marcher stole Mjolnir that was on the wall next to Captain America's shield. So, in theory, he is worthy.
Yeah, no, that part's not canon. That part's like extra not canon.
It's still in his inventory, buddy.
Next up, we're gonna go with your character, and that is the Red Lantern Kade.
The most powerful hero on Harp.
And Killious here is using the Blue Lantern variant, which is both the past version of him and the present version of him, or end of season version of him, I guess I should say. Kade started the season as a Red Lantern and became a Blue Lantern by the end of the season. So he has a couple different variations in the actual suit design. Obviously, the skin is a bit different, but also the mask is a bit different as well. Not only is the shading different, the mask is different, the actual build of it is different. So both lanterns are actually the same, despite their canonical difference in power level. They both have one of the fastest flights and really cool lantern flight animation, which I love. I love the lean forward. It looks real cool.
Yeah.
Nice and smooth.
Very smooth. He's also another beam boy.
That's right. Energy projection, which changes color depending on which suit you're wearing, which is great, as do all the abilities. Next up, the telekinesis grab. You can obviously grab and move your enemies around. And as you can see, when you use it on the blue suit, it also changes. One of my favorite abilities, the energy wall, which you can use to block incoming attacks. Looks real nice. You can hear it blocking it there. I can see the beam going down. It is difficult to take that beam down, or this shield down. It's powerful. It was barely going down at all. And lastly, the axe. Real cool design. Really cool construct for him to have. Woo.
Very overpowered, you know?
Very good. This honestly is one of my favorite suits in this season. It really is. It's a fantastic suit.
Oh, I agree. And for you nerds out there like myself, the Red Lantern suit is based on Atrocitus. And the blue one, I'm gonna guess Saint Walker, but you know, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you know who he is.
Yeah, I totally know.
Yeah.
Everyone else but me knows. It's fine.
He's just a blue alien dude.
Next up, we're gonna take a look at Orange Bat.
Okay, he actually has like the sickest suit.
The redesign from Orange Bat is phenomenal. Got a lot of these skins either done or remade by guys like Gilly and Procon Man. Shout out to them as well for absolutely killing it with a lot of the new skins. Orange Bat is quite an interesting one. He had a much bigger role initially in the season, but we had to change it, you know, after some changes were made to the script. So obviously he's based on Batman, but he's got a couple different, I guess you could say, unique things. The first thing obviously is his orange pistol. If I'm not mistaken, functions a lot like the Fisk tag weapons. A pretty cool pistol. I like the sound. I like the look. Matches the suit well. Pretty cool. Then we have his other piece of equipment, which is the grappling gun, as you know, you would expect a utility character to use. Go right over here. Oh, and his gliding, which also looks pretty great. My favorite thing to do actually is while gliding to be shooting.
Dude, I'm so bad with Orange Bat.
He is one of the more skill-based characters of the season.
This is why I'm a beam boy.
Less skill. And then you got one of my favorite additions, the charged jump. I don't know why I can't say that. Basically, you get like a super leap, which you can then glide with, which really helps with his movement.
Oh yeah, it's so cool. I think he's the only character in the hero pack that does that, right?
One of two, actually. And we're going to get to the other here in a minute. And we also added, kind of right before his debut, this was not initially planned, but we decided to add the flamethrower, which you can toggle and then use with left click. You basically have to toggle it on and off.
I didn't realize it was a toggle. I just held down C this entire time.
Yeah, and because it uses the old flamethrower model, it actually doesn't have, there's no way to add sound to it, but it still looks pretty great. And also his utility belt, which is a standard Batman utility belt. Batarangs, smoke pellets, and freeze grenades.
Yeah.
Oh, freeze grenade. One of the best ways to use him, I've found, is to have the smoke pellets on, to go invisible, and then charge jump. And look at that. Once I reappear, I'm basically gone.
I don't know where you are. Oh, there you are.
Whoa, wow. Batarang almost hit me. That was
just for Gotham. Oh, wait.
a great line. And that's Orange Bat. Definitely one of my favorite suits in terms of design.
Incredible.
And coming up next, we have Deadzone. Now, Deadzone is a really interesting one because
I think he's the most overpowered and unique hero, not hero, villain in the pack. Heropack.
I would agree. He's really well done. So with this one, Deadzone is supposed to be based on Cicada with a couple different changes that make him slightly more powerful. He firstly has a dagger, much like Cicada does, but the dagger works quite a bit differently. Not only does it disable the power of metahumans like Cicadas, but it also disables the powers of basically any enhanced individual like mutants, and even dampens technology, so making it far stronger. As you can see, once you're hit, you get the dampening effect, and that prevent you from using any of your abilities for 2 minutes, I believe. If I'm
Oh
not
my goodness, that's so busted.
Yep, and that's if you get hit. Now, that's not the only way he can use it either. He also has, and this is the ability that is still definitely not finished, but was quite essential for the series, was his ability to lightly dampen you from a distance. So if you toggle your mask, you can actually dampen people from far away. So now that I have it toggled, watch this. If I just look in his direction, it doesn't, or it shouldn't do much damage, if any. Essentially, just gives you a much lighter dampening effect than if you get hit. This makes him one of the most powerful characters in the entire hero pack, and definitely cements him as one of the most canonically powerful, given the fact that he can dampen and disable the abilities of basically anybody or anything. He also has a shadow form, which is meant to be sort of a quick energy escape he can use. As you can see, it actually goes very quickly because it's not meant to be used a lot. It's meant to be like a quick way that he can get out of a fight, since he doesn't have any actual other movement. Another thing that I forgot to mention is his sprinting, which he has a unique animation for, which is very horrifying to see charging at you in battle when you have no power. If your powers are being dampened and you see this running at you, you're basically dead. Next up, we got the force field, which he's supposed to be able to do with the dagger, at least canonically. As you can see, as you hold it, it's using the dagger's energy essentially to create a shield. And lastly, the thing you were mentioning earlier is characters with a charged jump, and Deadzone is one of them, which he can jump into the glide with. As you can see, his suit kind of expands a bit to allow him to fly, or glide rather. As you can see, he's ridiculously OP. We definitely plan on balancing him quite a bit, specifically when it comes to the I-beams, and I don't know how, but I somehow dampened you when you were behind me. Go ahead and hit me with the dagger, just so we can see it. And then as you can see at the top, this is what all the dampening looks like: phase suppressant, speed dampen, and tetritium poison.
Good luck. You can't do anything for 2 minutes.
Yep, and I'm dampened. This is especially effective against speedsters, as those of you who watch the series know. Anytime Deadzone was nearby, I basically couldn't do anything.
Yeah, he just became a normal guy who was even slower than most people, I dare say.
Yeah, not that people were already saying that or anything. Next up, we got Revertax, and I still can't do anything because I'm dampened.
Just like half the series.
Yep. Does milk get rid of dampening?
It does not.
Nope, I actually have to wait.
I'll take it from here. As you can see, he has some sick red speed trails. His speed also goes up to 5. He is also a beam boy. He's also got these sick, that's not a tornado arm. He has a sick tornado arm.
Yeah, which looks and sounds pretty great.
And just like every other speedster, he has the toggle slow motion thing, but that doesn't work unless both people are doing it.
Yep, which we can test in about 20 seconds.
Gosh, being a speedster and waiting down for a clock, man, that ain't it.
Yeah, this is welcome to my world. But his design is obviously based on Reverse Flash, kind of an axe version of Reverse Flash, with the sounds, with the actual design of the suit, kind of everything. But yeah, like Killious was showing, 5 speed, negative speed force sound effects, the lightning blast, I'll show it from the first person perspective. It's pretty cool. The tornado arm, and slow motion vision, which everyone will not stop talking about. And here it is. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm using slow motion vision. Holy crap.
Oh my gosh, we should use this in the videos more often.
Yeah, the problem is people always say that without knowing why we don't use it, because it messes with the server and messes with all the assets we use to make the series.
Oh yeah.
Now we're gonna go with the Axe Soldier, and the Axe Soldier also has a alt that was recently added. So the Axe Soldiers are pretty simple, but we did just add an alt, and that is the Netherite version, which looks way better.
It's so clean.
Very, very well done. But the Axe Soldier is essentially what the patrons would play in the series, the main foot soldier for the Evil Axe organization. And basically, when the patrons, would play as Axe Soldiers in the series, they would get their choice of whatever weapon they would like to use. The rifle, the scatter blaster, the railgun. Oops, I didn't switch to it. I don't think the suit has a railgun on it for some reason.
This one doesn't have a railgun either?
We have to get new suits? There they are. Someone must have taken it off suit, and then...
He got nerfed.
Wait, is the railgun gone?
I don't know.
No, I got it. Yeah, that suit just had it taken off. The railgun reminds me very much of a Halo railgun, which I love.
Yeah, this is my favorite one.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And lastly, the shotgun. And that's the extent of the Axe Soldier abilities. Speaking of Axe, we and, kind of all of the members, team. There's actually one that we didn't put up here, and I'm going to do this now before I forget, and that is is the Iron Legion drone. Or do you have it already? Shout out to JMCT for reskinning this for his pack for us, which is great. So basically, this is a reskin of JMCT's Iron Legion drone based on, the actual Marvel universe. And this is essentially, within the lore, Axe's variant of the Iron Legion drone after they took over Tony Stark's facility. It has all the properties of JMCT's Iron Legion drone. So awesome looking flight, really cool thrusters, movement, cool landing, and a simple aim and shoot. JMCT makes a lot of really good suits, and we were really grateful to work with him on this one. He killed it with the alt skin too. It looks great.
Yeah, it looks really good. I also like the flying animation with all the flames coming out the back.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. It looks fantastic. And next up, we got Sculkwater.
Oh, this is probably the coolest one.
Sculkwater,
in terms of like looks.
Sculkwater is without a doubt the best model that we've done to this point. So this is a basic infected Sculk man or a basic infected Sculk scientist who is experimenting with the Sculk and eventually became the subject of his own experiment. So actually use the Sculkwater power and see what the model truly looks like. You start by toggling the liquid form. Now the liquid form is, kind of like a shadow form, but just on the ground. Once you're in a liquid form, you can then change to like which Sculk form you're in, either the human form or the Sculk form. So by pressing F here, for me, you can see that my camera slightly changes, and that's because my model has actually changed. So now you see if I toggle the liquid form once again, we are now the actual Sculkwater, an absolutely epic model by Gilly. I mean, look at this thing. This is incredible. He's essentially a modified Sculk symbiote, and one of the ways we actually have to test him here is by taking him to the water. But before we do that, let's focus on his actual powers. The main feature is the aim ability, which sees him kind of aim out his arm, and right-clicking to fire a Sculk blast. It also gives you the darkness effect for a few seconds. So if you kind of get someone in a combo with it, it becomes pretty good. It's a little bit difficult to hit, but that's one of the main features of it. But if we look at the map real quick, I'm actually going to teleport over really briefly to the water if you want to TP to me. We're kind of at the edge of the world here where it's like not properly loaded.
I teleported to myself.
So when you jump in the water as Sculkwater, the first thing you'll notice is you pick up a ton of speed. And that's because Sculkwater essentially has flight while in the water. Another thing you'll notice is he has flyby damage when in the water. So he kind of leans out with his mace arm, and when you hit people, it does extremely high damage.
I don't know where you are.
I don't know where you are either. It's really hard to see in the water. And obviously I wanted to change that a little bit more for this version, but there you are. Boom, there we go.
Ow.
There we go. So he hits pretty hard, and coupled with being able to shoot and aim, he's a pretty great suit. Definitely the best model that I've ever seen. So thank you so much to Gilly once again. Next up, we got Wavebreaker. He's meant to be sort of a modified Atlantean, and this was played, Wavebreaker was played by Ryu, a patron of mine who's been very supportive. You'll notice that one of the abilities that he has is the wetness bar at the bottom, and when he has his bar full, he is able to fly and is quite a bit stronger in his damage. Or as his combat continues, as Wavebreaker's combat continues and he flies around, eventually the meter starts to go down. And the further it goes down, the slower the flight gets and the weaker he gets. So essentially, although he has really good flight and is pretty fast, he needs to be able to constantly hit the water to be able to maintain his strength. Also, he has a trident with blocking, which makes him one of the best melee characters, in my opinion.
Oh, I didn't know he could do that.
He can block with the trident and block while in flight, which is really good. And that's one of the reasons why we never added anything more to him, because he actually is one of the best fighters in terms of melee combat. And that's Wavebreaker. Ryu did a fantastic job playing him in the series. Another thing that you'll notice is the wetness meter goes down very quickly in the presence of fire. So not only am I getting nausea, but also the wetness meter is going down. Look at this as I completely dry out.
Also, I was wearing the alt suit of that, which was the just normal Atlantean.
Yes, thank you.
Right?
I forgot to mention that. Yeah, so that's the normal like Atlantean warrior suit that you were wearing. And just to show, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but this is hilarious. Watch this. With only 2 bars of speed, watch me try to fly into combat as Wavebreaker. Here we go. Oh, now down to 1. Look at the speed.
It's like dampened Speedburst.
Yep, except this is actually like slower than walking.
I didn't even know that was possible.
Yep, it's hilarious actually. Next up, we're going to take a look at some of the quantum suits, starting with Quantumnauts, which is the minion suit that the patrons played this season in the Quantum Realm. So the Quantumnauts have 2 simple weapons. They function very similarly to the Axe Soldiers, just with less weaponry and different designs. So the Quantumnaut has the shotgun and the quantum railgun. Pretty simple suit.
Yeah, and if you look above your head, it actually changes your name to say Quantumnaut.
That's right, which is obviously great for the series. We don't have to worry about name issue.
That is why Sabri is the GOAT.
That is true. Shout out to Sabri for an awesome Quantum Realm build. And speaking of the Quantum Realm, next up we have Quantum Mech, who also has the name over his head, which is helpful for identifying characters in the Quantum Realm. So Quantum Mech is meant to be a Redstone mech variant from this universe in Season too. So you can see here's Redstone Mech right here. This is basically an alt universe version of him, which is why the powers are almost the same, but it has a couple additions, namely the aim function. So just like Redstone Mech, it has all the same abilities, changing size, right? So you can become miniature, fly around. The aim function, it has 2 upgrades from the Redstone Mech version, which is firstly the burst instead of the blast, which looks like this, and an addition of a beam.
He's a beam boy. I mean, this is such an upgrade for Redstone Mech.
It is, for sure. That was one of the things about Redstone Mech that was, made him a difficult play for Jab in Season 1, which was he had a lot of trouble combating characters. There were a lot of characters who had beams that didn't need them, and he was one that needed one. And, of course, the last one being Grenade. And that is Quantum Mech. But while we're on the topic, I say we kind of skip ahead a couple, at least on the podium, because after encountering and defeating Quantum Mech and using the tech from the suit, in universe, Redstone Mech combined his suit with the Quantum Mech suit, which is, here's the Season 1 version of him, and the Quantum Mech suit to make his Mark II Redstone Mech suit. Another big part of the season. So the way that the Redstone Mech Mark II works is it's actually toggled, which will enable its power. And as you can see, it lights up on the side. And as you can see from Killious' suit, you'll see that all kinds of redstone variants toggle on and off. It also toggles all the abilities. A fantastic job by Sabri doing that, and by Gilly for making the awesome suit. The flight's pretty amazing too. Has all those same abilities from Quantum Mech basically added to the Redstone Mech suit. So again, same thing. Size manipulation, grenades, aiming, and of course the beam. But just tailored for the Redstone Mech suit. And one last thing to mention, if you look at the suit, you'll notice that there's actually quite a bit still in progress in terms of ability. If you look closely at what he has on him, there are going to be some upgrades to the suit in the future. Now, whether or not we actually do that in this version of the Hero Pack, we're going to see. But for Season 3, he definitely has some changes coming. And one of the best parts about the design is just all the different little redstone trinkets that were added on, like the redstone repeaters and torches on the side, the kind of redstone circuitry, and one of my favorites that you might not have noticed, Killious, is the piston feet.
Wait, what? Oh yeah, look at that.
Pretty cool, right?
Who made the skin for this?
This was Gilly, I believe. Yeah, Gilly.
You did good. You did good.
Yeah, he always does good. I don't think I've ever gotten a skin from him that's bad. Next up, I think we gotta go with Thundercrash. Thundercrash is Joe's Season 2 character. In Season 1, Joe started out as this character, Current, and after becoming sick due to V9, an experiment was run to save him, which turned him into Thundercrash. Also, Killious here is wearing the Hulkalo alt, which is supposed to be this world's variant of Joe's Hulk. The reason he looks so different is because technically, Hulkalo doesn't have the electric properties that Thundercrash does in lore. So, although the alt has the electric powers, canonically, this alt should not have any of the electric properties. He is just a normal Hulk versus a sort of electric Hulk hybrid. So Thundercrash has a couple different awesome abilities that you would find on a Hulk, like the Thunderclap, which is not only insanely powerful, but has great range.
It is so OP.
And it also has what a lot of people use on Hulk suits, and that's the sprinting and jumping, or the leaping, I guess, rather. So as you sprint, your bar sort of fills, and once it's completely filled, when you jump, you get the maximum boost. And if you chain them together, you can actually travel at a pretty decent speed, and jump on top of buildings quite easily. Crouch, you actually charge his leaping slam. So if you then jump afterwards, you get an awesome leap attack, which does splash damage. Really, really great. One of the awesome things that Sabri added from his hero pack, which I was very grateful that he did. And lastly, we have the Smash Ground ability, which is destructive if you have griefing on, which we don't, because I don't want to destroy the map. Basically, right-click and smashing the ground and destroying blocks and sending them flying. We also have definitely some new abilities coming for him in Season 3 that will make his mobility a little bit better, at least in terms of travel, without buffing his normal Hulk form. And we'll get to that soon. That's a bit of a tease. And that is Thundercrash. Next up, we have Code Reaper. He's actually meant to be a minion of the entity, controlled by the entity. Code Reaper was designed to be a fake out for a Time Wraith in the series, which is why he looks sort of similar to that, but with an entity twist. Sort of the way he works is he hunts for those who are potential threats to the code without entity having to manually travel to that universe. So all he really has is he's a tier 1 suit, he has pretty good flight, and he has a very simple sight. So there's not much to him, but he's pretty cool. And once again, another great design. This is also he also put this together for me very quickly, and I was very appreciative reflective of that in this season. And speaking of Entity and the code, let's talk about his changes.
Our boy got a major makeover.
He did. And Procon and Gilly worked together to get this design, and it's absolutely fantastic. With this new design for Entity, I definitely wanted to make it seem more like the embodiment of his aspect, which is Wrath of the Code. So the way the code works is it has a bunch of different aspects, and Entity represents, this current Entity represents the Wrath of the Code. So with the Wrath of the Code, it gives him a bunch of different abilities. Many of you have already seen in season 1. The main one being the Wrath of the Code attack with his book. Wait a minute, that's a glitch. Hold on, use it again? That was so weird. Maybe it's because we were both using it at the same time. Hold on, look at me when you use it. You see that? See 2 books?
No.
I'm seeing, look at me. I see.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess when 2 people use it, it doubles up on the books. But essentially, Wrath of the Code has him kind of focus his power with the book, kind of sit down and summon a beam directly from the code. It's super powerful, and one of the things that makes Entity great, because look at the range on that. It's crazy. And yes, he's supposed to be busted. Although I didn't realize how busted until we recorded that one episode with Sabri.
Yeah.
He's also got his normal code energy, which is a much weaker blast, but allows for kind of quicker damage. His teleportation.
That's a new one. He didn't have this in season 1, right?
I don't think he did. No. Yeah, we added it for season 2, which makes sense with his code abilities. And telekinesis, which we're now both using. Oh god. And finally, the Axe of Rathius, which was a very recent addition. And if you've been a patron for a bit, you may have known about this but been confused. It's essentially Entity's code item. And we actually redid the model too. The models were made by the original model was made by Ergo and was retextured by Gilly, and they, them together absolutely killed it. 2 awesome Heropack developers. So the new Entity.
You can see him more in Favored season 2 when it comes back.
Yeah, if it comes back. I would definitely like it to come back, and we're definitely setting up for Favored season 2 to come back, but I don't know, we'll have to see. Entity was also changed to tier 9 this season rather than tier 10, which I think is appropriate for the story. And now let's go to my upgrade, and that is Tachyon Speedburst. All throughout season 1, everyone told me I was slow, even though I wasn't really that slow. I mean, I wasn't the fastest, no, but I really wasn't slow. And after the events of the Quantum Realm within the series, we ended up collecting a bunch of Tachyon. And using those Tachyons, we built a Tachyon Speedster suit. Another thing that we added more recently for the series is the Tachyon Kordak variant, which is basically Kordax's stolen version of the Tachyon suit. Awesome skins, some of my favorite in the mod. And one of the things I think Gilly really wanted to do, and I was really appreciative that he pushed for this, is to make it look a lot more like my logo, which I appreciated. So as you can see, the normal suit has white lightning, while the alt suit has red lightning, and it goes up to speed 9, as opposed to my previous suit, which was speed 5. So let's take a look at it now. Extremely fast, can get across this field in a second. And one of my favorite features is the movement. Ability to jump is awesome. Coupled with the landing, makes the suit so much easier to use in combat than the previous Speedster suit that I've seen. Another thing it has is wall running, which allows you to easily climb up buildings. And I need to do this in survival to make sure I get this properly. But with wall running enabled, it makes the combat flow so much better. Especially when you're in a city, to jump up on top of buildings like this is pretty essential for the combat. Now there are some issues with the wall running. For example, a lot of times once it's been toggled, when you go upstairs or try to go, kind of up walls or like quick ledges, you'll see this little like lean back, right? But that just kind of goes with the way it's made. There's not really any way to fix that. But just look at the movement. I mean, it's so much better than any other Speedster.
Oh yeah.
You'll also notice a bar that's charged when running. It also looks completely different on the Tachyon Kordak suit. But as you run, you charge up the beam. So although technically I am a beam boy, you do have to run to charge it. As you can see, that's it charging right now in the middle. And you don't have to wait for it to fully charge either. You can kind of use it whenever you want to at any point. So if I only charge it up to this much, it'll just fill out the beam that quickly. And lastly, we have the dual lightning sword, which both swing upon left clicking, which look pretty cool. Obviously in season 1, I had lightning swords, and we thought it was appropriate to have dual lightning swords for season 2.
It's so good.
Oh, actually, and I forgot about one other thing, and that's the tornado arm, which were also added to this suit and made sense to be added. Thoughts on the suit overall?
It's incredible. I think the Kordax version is like one of my top 3 or 4 favorite suits in season 2.
I might have to agree. It's phenomenal. Such a good skin.
And if you watch the episode that comes out soon,
well, it'll be out by this time.
If you watch the new episode, the boys lose their mind after seeing this.
Yeah, I think the best part was your reaction. You like didn't know what you were seeing. You were like, "It's Kordak. It's Tachyon Kordax. What the f is that?" Like, or not Tachyon Kordax. You're just like you didn't know what you were seeing. It was so great.
I'm like, there's a guy, but I don't know what it is.
Right.
I'm excited to see that tonight.
Yeah, it's actually a really good episode, I think. So moving on, we only got a couple left, and I think we start with, kind of end up the last couple with Power Nap, which I can't pick up because I'm once again not in creative. So Power Nap is not in her final form currently. Firstly, she doesn't have the abilities that she's meant to have. She's not completed because combat with her this season was not necessary. But essentially the way it works is it has really good flight, actually very similar flight to the Lantern flight. And how it's going to work is it's going to be a sleep-based power. So when the character falls asleep, her body starts to produce a ton of energy that's actually very dangerous, which is why she wears the suit. And the suit absorbs that energy and can transform it into various types of energy-based attack. And the other thing that's hinted at by this power, or by this suit, is the transformations of the code book. So essentially what I'm trying to hint at here with this is that this is not her original power. This is a transformation that this character currently has. The Power Nap character is essentially a power that is essentially created by transformations of the code. A custom power, if you will. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm listening and trying to get lore bits out of you. Just like trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Also, this is not the first time you've ever seen this book. Hint, hint, rewatch favored so we can bring it back. Please, we need the views.
Let's do Blaze next. Now,
but Arrzee, we already did Blaze.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because we technically did. But this is the new variant of the Blaze suit that I'm planning to show in the flashback episode, assuming that's coming out after this. It could come up before this. I don't know when this is going to come out yet. But this is the new version of the Blaze suit that we worked with the team at Melon Farm to get done. And they did an awesome job at retexturing the aliens to match their pack while also keeping the Omnitrix variant that Sabri did for us as with Crystalface. So essentially in lore, Blaze lost a bunch of his transformations, a bunch of his aliens, and now he has to get them back. Using kind of the logic of the past events, this is what his powers used to look like. Starting with, you hold F to select an alien, you can pick one, and let's start with Crystalface, since, that's the one that is already another suit as well. As you can see, he differs a little bit from the initial one, but is still basically the same. There is a couple different notable things. Firstly, the hand blocking, which is pretty cool, right? Instead of having the throwable shield, he has like the arm shield. He also has the push wave, which is a slam of the crystals, all from Melon Farm. He also can still throw his crystals like he could previously.
He can really throw them, like, way quicker.
Yep, quicker and a lot further. There's also sounds still missing on the suit, which we're going to be updating very soon, and by the time this comes out, the sounds will be finished. Now, we can check out the other transformation. If you press F, you can click revert and then punch the air, and it will reset him. There you go. Now, by holding F again and scrolling, we can get to his new transformation. And that is the Blaze Cannon variant. This is a fire version of Cannonbolt. Once again, huge thanks to the Melon Farm guys for setting this up for us, and of course Gilly for reskinning it. So it has not only a hand block, but also the shell transformation, which just looks so cool. And the fire effects are also really, really cool. Kind of as you go, start to build up more charge. Your screen starts to freak out a lot because you're rolling, but it looks so good. And then the best part, crouching afterwards. Once you have built up enough charge, you get to crouch, if I'm not mistaken, and then hit C. Yep, there it is, a tornado spin.
Yeah, I think that's like the coolest animation we have.
It's really cool. Creates a fire tornado. So good. And actually my screen is freaking out. This is it from inside the tornado. Wow. Really, really, really cool. And I'm trying to do the hand block right now. It's not working for some reason, or at least it's not showing. Oh, there it is. So the hand block is actually toggleable, which I didn't know. You toggle it, and then you hold right click block as Blaze's variant of Cannonball.
Oh, look at that. Also, Blaze is OP. He's tier 10.
Yeah, so the Omnitrix in general is just tier 10. And yeah, this suit is technically the Blaze YT TV Omnitrix. That's essentially what it is. And now we have to talk about the main villain of the season, and that is Kordax. Everyone's been wondering kind of all season how he works, and in this last little bit here, we actually changed how he works. I think for the one of the final Kordax updates, we're going to revert him to how he was before, but for now, I'm going to show you how this variant works. So Kordax is the main villain of Season 2 on this world, and he's actually an alt version of myself that has turned evil. So he has two powers, technically. The first is his code suit. So this is, much like the entity back there, his powers come from the code, but it's combined a bit with technology. So as you can tell, it definitely has a bit of a design like Iron Man and flight like Iron Man with a lot of extra tweaks. So as you can see, this is how the flight works. Again, a lot like Iron Man. It's really, really cool. It's also why a lot of people theorized early in the season that this is actually a Rainbow Defender. an alt version of Rainbow Defender. His main ability, and this is one of the ones that is the biggest deal for sure, is the aim. And when you hold aim, it creates these 3 balls of code energy, which Sabri came up with himself. You can then do 2 things with it. You can do a very, very powerful right-click blast, which is awesome, and an epic beam, which is a little bit weaker, but easier to hit. The sounds on these are great too. I love specifically this ability. I know a lot of people were interested in actually how it works, and this is how it works. He also has invisibility, which only really works when he's completely still. When he walks, you can sort of be seen a little bit, and telekinesis, which I'm now using on Killious. You'll notice it actually doesn't have the same look as the last one does. Oh no, there I go.
Because he can use the force. It's now canon.
Another thing, if you toggle his mask, it actually lights up his mask. Normally on the standard suit, which is not in the version we currently have enabled, he also has an ability to transform into the Revertax suit, since the Revertax suit is the character's actual canonical power, the negative speed force. He's essentially 2 suits in one. But because of the version that we made for this part of the story, he currently works a bit differently. Now you'll have seen from the most recent video that when using transformations of the code with the suit, if grabbed with telekinesis, you can then essentially use the transformation power to download the suit. But currently the only one that's enabled is Tachyon Speedburst. So if you go ahead and put that on real quick. So you don't actually need to hold the book, but I think what we're actually going to do is make the transformation a separate transformation book, a separate power. So essentially what you do is you hold them in telekinesis, the suit that you want to copy, and then you crouch, which then downloads the Cordax version of the suit. Pretty cool, right?
That's insane.
So because of the way the story works, that's kind of how we did it. Another thing you'll notice from this variant of the suit, which we actually never showed in the series or used in the series, is this version of the suit actually has a charged punch. So if you run enough, you've actually built up a supersonic punch. We just never showed this off or used it in the series. So now that I've run enough, you saw that red circle charging on my screen. Now if I punch, that's a supersonic punch.
Hey, you got it the first try though, so that's all that counts.
I did. Another thing too to note, and you will probably appreciate this, Killious, the original plan for Cordax was that he was going to, the suit was going to naturally allow him to copy powers. Like, it not only had Wrath of the Code built into it, but it also had transformations of the code built into it. And I eventually realized that was way too much for one character.
That's broken.
So that's why that power right now is only exclusive to, at least canonically, to Cordax having the transformations of the code or book. And that is all of the main new suits for Season 2. Now we have a couple other things that we didn't mention that I'll just mention very briefly. And that is a couple alts for Potato Boy. If you look, this is the Potato Boy Season 2 suit, at least the main one. He also had a bit of an update where now he has a Potato Scream that looks a lot more like the sound, or kind of the sound waves. And he had an update to the Potato Eye ability. As you can see here next to me, this is the other variant that was added, the Axe Potato Boy suit, when he got mind controlled by Scarlet Warlock. Now, if we fly straight up with Potato Boy, this is something that Accelerated Man inspired us to do, and Sabri helped code to be very unique, is the supercharge-like ability. So after he passes Super Potato Boy, gets high enough, he starts to cook in the sunlight. Now, this is something that we didn't really show at this point in the series. Depending on when this comes out, we'll see. Maybe I'll have this come out later and it'll be shown already. But essentially, he just cooks in the sunlight and gains heat energy. And if you look at the skin too, you'll notice his skin is actually starting to burn because he's weak to fire since he's a potato. He starts to cook. And if I go into survival, you actually see as it gets stronger, or as the bar fills more and more, the hearts actually get lower.
Oh, it gets lower? I didn't know that.
Yes, because it's essentially weakening him the more he gets cooked. And once it's maxed, this is what it looks like. He's completely charred. He's a overcooked Potato Boy.
Hello.
But the more he has cooked, the more damage he does with his laser eyes. You'll notice it also has a screen shake effect too. Look at how much stronger looking the eyes are. Now, in the normal version, and I'm probably gonna have Sabri change this back because we just made a change for the finale, but in the normal version, when you would use and what will probably be like by the time you see this video, when you use the laser eyes, when you have heat built up, it'll actually release a bunch of your heat. So he'll cool back down and gain his hearts. But the more cooked he is, the more damage he does with the laser eyes, if that makes sense. We also added super speed to the suit as well. Since all of the Kryptonian like characters have super speed, we thought it was probably best to give him a blur sprint as well. Thoughts on the Potato Boy changes?
I love all the skins. You look so ridiculous as an overbaked potato.
And also, he still has that weakness to, wow, I don't know how I fell in, but there we go. Oh my god, my speed healing can't even beat the burning?
Get him with the Glock.
Okay, yep, I just got down by
And let it be known,
You can't beat the Order of the Glock.
Oh, God.
Like and subscribe.